Decoding Reason Why Harry and Meghan Were Blacklisted in Hollywood. Hello, friends! Welcome to breaking royal news about the notorious hypocritical couple Harry and Meghan Markle on our Kate Middleton and the Queen News version 2 channel. The question is, do you think Harry and Meghan have been actually blacklisted in Hollywood? Or is it just because Meghan is past the Hollywood age for sexy and both of them are boring and indiscreet? People in T-Town can overlook a lot of different personality quirks or even sins, but only if the individual has talent or brings something to the table like money. Meghan possesses none of these things. She is known for throwing anybody and everybody under the bus to boost herself above everyone. She will literally bite the hand that feeds her and then not understand why she won't be fed by anyone. The perfect example of this is Robert Downey Jr. He had so many issues with substance abuse and jail time, but he has talent and is likable. His career came back in full force with the Iron Man franchise. It helped that his dad was a Hollywood director. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the highest-paid actors now. Robert Downey Jr. made very serious mistakes, and he paid for them. He then sought help and recognized his mistakes. When they reached out to him, he did not disappoint and has had exemplary behavior since he was rehabilitated several years ago. He was lucky to have a woman who did not seek to take advantage of his weaknesses, but rather supported him in reinforcing his strengths. The same Travolta happened to Samuel L. Jackson. People make mistakes, but you recognize that you made them and seek to rectify them. Very doubt Meghan will ever reach such heights or even near it. Meghan is a talentless, narcissistic, and selfish woman. Yeah, she's blacklisted and aged out of the young hot roles. Those two variables are the total death knell to the Meghan Markle brand. Downey has an important virtue Meghan lacks, which is humility. America loves comeback and second-chance people, stories. Meghan would have to first admit failure in order to be a comeback. She will never own it. It's already been proposed that Harry and his book hurt her brand and that she should have been more involved in the writing. Downey is also authentic and has a personality and true life experiences which he can utilize to add depth to any character he takes on. Meghan lacks personality, authenticity, and deep life experiences. The only possible shot at being a second chance is if she reveals a serious druggy lifestyle and abuse from Harry. There's really been no evidence, and any attempt in that line would fail miserably. Anyone would do what Downey did to get his life back on track. But Meghan will never do an iota of what he did, because in her head she has done nothing wrong. It's everyone else's fault for her failures. It's the world's fault for having a pandemic when she was ready to succeed. It's the royal family's fault for having a hierarchy. It's William's fault for being born first, and it's his fault for marrying Catherine instead of seeking Meghan out. I'm laughing as I'm typing this out because it's so ludicrous, but I'm positive those thoughts went through her head and is living rent-free. Nothing about her is truly bankable to create a comeback or a second chance. Her hubris wouldn't permit her to own any serious failure, and there are no narcissistic personality rehabs that would have the name recognition she'd need to make a rehab experience believable. It's also unlikely she'll get arrested or serve jail time, which might give her real-life experience. The best thing Meghan could do is go away. She should go completely silent, raise the chickens and the kids, and then, at least, she'd be an enigma. She's saturated the media with ridiculous pap calls, and everyone is sick of seeing her and them. Meghan is a basic evil with below-average skills and intelligence who was raised to believe she's extraordinary. Her extreme delusion and narcissism have caused her to think people are genuinely interested in her as an individual, when that has literally never been the case. The only reason why anyone knows or cares who is she is her connection to the British royal family, a connection which is rapidly approaching extinction due to Markle's own sociopathic behavior. She has gotten this wrong time and time again. As a working royal, she thought the cheering crowds were there for her, personally, not the institution she represented. This likely fueled her delusions of outshining the Prince and Princess of Wales by establishing a separate court in America. Hollywood, similarly, may have been captivated at first, but only because of Markle's royal adjacency. She probably thought Netflix and Spotify offered her contracts just to be in closer proximity to her heart attack beauty and star power, and was surprised when they actually expected content in return. If she were a smarter narcissist, she would have recognized that the British royal family was her one and only product. Markle simply doesn't have the talent, skills, creativity, and intelligence to offer anything else. She would have stuck it out for longer if only to collect more material, and she never would have done the Oprah interview, which permanently slammed the door shut to the British royal family. It was delusional of her to believe she and Harold would have the same access after publicly slandering them. I'm intentionally leaving out the huge moral issue I have with the interview and talking strictly from a business sense because I think this demonstrates Markle's stupidity even further. If you know that all you have to sell are stories about your time with the British royal family, why go scorched earth so they never talk to you again? I think that's part of the reason why so many of her stories are made up. She and Harold both have a track record of lying, so I think they would have done that either way. But I also think they have to invent stories because they can't get close enough to the British royal family to collect any new ones. It's very telling that the CEO of UTA came out publicly to say that Meghan has no talent. No matter that people inside his own company were shocked, he never would have said that if Hollywood wasn't saying the same thing behind closed doors. She's got no talent, no money, and no sense of discretion. She's a triple threat. Also, Hollywood did not like how she tried to humiliate people she interviewed on her podcast whom she had met in Hollywood before she was the Lady of Dumbarton. Like saying we met before, and then the person was very awkward. Hollywood did not like that one bit. Literally, everyone famous meets thousands and thousands of people and should not be expected to remember every single one of them should one of them become famous later. That is just the rule. She talked smack of every job she had and every person who gave her a job and made it sound like she was treated badly by all of them in some way. Of course, she's blacklisted. You can't blame them for not wanting to be possible page fodder for her next tell-all book, now that she's running low on made-up stories and lies and probably thinking she's on the lookout for new victims. Her agency should be careful calling in all these favors they've been saving for a rainy day because they're using it all up on her and nothing is even working. Bauer commented on it in revenge. Meghan made a lot of enemies for what she did to her father. Her father has many friends even in the world of entertainment. People who remember him with great appreciation. Meghan's father has a good reputation in Hollywood. He worked with many actors, cameramen, and directors. If you add to that what happened with Trevor, who is a producer in Hollywood, Meghan sees them as inferior, but she should consider that it is not Harry who is rejected in Hollywood, it is her, and not because of what she did or did not do to the British royal family, but because of what she did to people in the Guild. Meghan already had a reputation for being hard to work with before she met Harry, and her efforts as a producer and presenter since Megxit haven't done anything to improve that reputation. In fact, they have put even more nails in the coffin. Besides, Meghan is indiscreet and vulgar in an open fashion. Think about Hollywood. Since its inception, it is an industry built on dubious morals and ethics. Warner Brothers and MGM were known to be brutally aggressive from sexual, casting couch, to business. All of this was kept in the shadows until the Me Too movement. Hollywood thrives on secrecy, and those who are in the club don't go blabbing left, right, and center. She was never a major player in any part of the LA media industry. The clout of the royal family's name and her cunning use of the race card gave her a few breaks initially. When there was no evidence to back up her claims, her backers backed off, afraid that she is a liability to them due to her allegations, which could open them up to lawsuits if there is no proof. They gave her a platform to openly accuse some dignified and powerful people of things that she has no evidence to provide. They will not do so anymore, as only the tabloid press will have room for such content. And she could not make it big in Hollywood, and that is why she moved away and was living and working in Canada and not in LA. Major power players in Hollywood would be names like Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, and the like. Not Meghan as her own PR makes her out to be. Enter Meghan and her blabbermouth and her bad attitude, throwing everyone under the bus who didn't take to her. Enter her stalking people and making fake associations with them, pals with so-and-so when she's not. Then one of the bigger sins of exposing bought awards. Until her, the lay world never realized that awards are bought, and now they know. So that means all those famous, acclaimed actors have been exposed too. Egg on faces. They do not like this, and I am sure there is so much more from harassing the lower-level people in the industry. Not to mention there are well-respected actors who she has pulled the pants down on and humiliated. Take Aniston and Cox, for example. These people have long memories and are into loyalty, even if it is loyalty to covering up each other's infractions. She has shown that she will go to any lengths to be disloyal. I have more chances of being in Hollywood than she does. Everyone who makes it in Hollywood has a combination of talent, personality, creativity, and a work ethic. 4 things that the Harkles lack. Neither of them has a single one of those to offer, and neither of them has the humility to start from basics and work their way up. Meghan, in particular, is only interested in starring roles, despite having a mediocre track record so far, and Harry has 0 experience in front of or behind the cameras. All he has to offer is his name. I think Harry's blacklisted, too. He wrote about Courtney Cox's shrooms and told all sorts of personal things about his family. If nothing else, the Hollywood elite would be afraid he'd run back to Megs and tell her everything he heard or saw, and pretty soon the world would know. I'm positive that the Courtney Cox story is something he related to the madam as an anecdote in private that wasn't meant to be repeated, made public, or included in his book. We all recall that the first version of Spare, Us, was sent back for a rewrite because there wasn't enough dirt. That's when Maringer spent weeks in their guest house while Meghan visited him daily to help out. There's no doubt in my mind that the most egregious ditties in that book were all due to her additional content. Harry had probably received a sizable advance, which Meghan promptly spent or squirreled away. She likely made it clear they couldn't afford to pull out of the book deal, even if he was not entirely on board with the many false allegations and twisted interpretations his wife manufactured at his expense and under his name. Her venom and claw marks are spread thickly throughout almost every page of that book. He's no saint, but she's the true villain in their relationship. Clearly, both of them have been softly blacklisted where big names won't hang out with her and she won't seriously be considered for projects. She's very ungrateful for the opportunities she has had, like Deal or No Deal, and has insulted many directors such as Quentin Tarantino and producers like the Real Housewives guy. She's a person that will talk about you behind your back, and I don't think directors appreciate that. She turns off A-listers by talking and allowing Harry to talk about doing dumb shit on their dime, a la Courtney Cox, and constantly calling the PAPs but refusing to actually play the pap game. She insults people by making it seem like they had lunch or dinner or drinks when they just happened to be in the same spot, minding their own business. She's just off-putting. Moreover, they're not profitable. Hollywood producers will put up with a lot if you bring in the dollars. Their projects were late, over budget, and lame AF. Also, they don't promote or share the spotlight. Did Meghan and Harry go on the usual morning or late-night shows to promote their docuseries? Harry did a bit of publicity for his stupid book, at least. They were softball interviews, but at least he did them. Harry and his sociopath wife are objectively awful people and would be a nightmare to work with. But that would be forgiven if they could attract enough eyeballs. This is all about the money. Hollywood is an industry crawling with narcissists and also has its fair share of eccentric personalities. How many stories have we heard over the years of diva behavior from celebrities like Christian Bale and Russell Crowe screaming at the crew, or Mariah Carey requesting a basket of kittens and a flock of doves be delivered to her hotel room? Jennifer Aniston once admitted to throwing a chair at a director. Then there are method actors like Daniel Day-Lewis, who refused to let anyone speak to him unless they had an American accent when he was filming Lincoln. Hollywood producers, directors, writers, and crew aren't easily fazed by difficult or unusual personalities, although this is pure speculation. Secondhand Coke would probably have more insight. At the end of the day, Hollywood is a business, and this industry has shown itself willing to tolerate outlandish and even abusive behavior from celebrities who can draw an audience and ultimately generate profits. Christian Bale and Russell Crowe are both Oscar winners responsible for some of the most famous film roles to date. Mariah Carey is one of the best-selling music artists of all time. Jennifer Aniston's box office gross is over $1 billion. Daniel Day-Lewis is the only person who has ever won an Academy Award for Best Actor 3 times. And for all the rumors and stories about these celebrities being difficult to work with, I don't think a single one has ever been accused of laziness. On the contrary, it seems like they all work really hard because they understand how it works. They need to hold up their end of the agreement. We'll pay your massive rates and put up with your outlandish behavior, but you need to fucking deliver. Of course, every once in a while that behavior becomes so extreme that even commercial success can't protect celebrities from getting blacklisted. That is, Harvey Weinstein, Ellen DeGeneres, Kanye West. But for the most part, it seems that Hollywood celebrities are very much aware that their demands have a limit and are only acceptable so long as they can draw an audience. Markle's biggest crime in Hollywood isn't her terrible acting skills. It's that she doesn't hold up her end of the deal. She thought she could show up as the Duchess of Sussex, command big contracts, and then sit back and coast for almost 2 years without delivering any content. Just like she mistakenly believed the cheering crowds were there for her when she was a working royal, rather than the crown she represented, Markle also thought her mere presence was enough to satisfy contracts with Netflix and Spotify. It's like it didn't even occur to her that they would expect something in return. This all comes down to vastly overestimating her own importance and the value of what she has to offer. She did the same thing with Disney when she lied about donating to the elephant charity. I think that's the main reason she and Harry are now untouchable, and no one will work with her, although her abusive behavior doesn't help. They demand the same considerations and pay as A-list movie stars, but with no hope of ever seeing a return on that investment. What do you think about Harry and Meghan being blacklisted by Hollywood? Let us know your thoughts below in the comments section. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.